name is GuruNischan's, and I flew in from Los Angeles because I actually lived here in Chicago for the last 8 years, and I only moved out to LA because I needed some sunshine. I must have been there. I must have there right now. I can't even believe it is May and it is this cold, and I'm like, this is exactly why I don't live here anymore. And one day I woke up and I said, wow, I built a business. I can live anywhere. I don't have to live here, so why am I? And people say, why did you move to LA? And I just say sunshine. That's about it. And it served me well, and it's just been very, very exciting. And as Daviani talked about, I have about 33 years of experience, and guess how old I am? 33. My background is actually in holistic health. I grew up as a Sikh, which is a holistic health, in a community of people. My parents got into the lifestyle of yoga and meditation, and then I grew up in that lifestyle. That's where my name comes from, GuruNischan's. And so I didn't change my name. I was born with that. And my lifestyle was just real different. It wasn't like a typical American home by any means. I never went to doctors. We were born at home. We weren't immunized. We never been to the hospital. I never remember the first time I went to the hospital was like 25, and that was to visit my sick great uncle. And I just remember thinking, I didn't even think it, I said it. I was like, people come here to get better? It smells so bad. I don't know if you've ever been to a hospital, but they just kind of smell a little toxic, And it just kind of, it made me realize, wow, I kind of grew up like in a bubble within a bigger country, so to speak. And I didn't go into holistic health as a career. I was a school teacher. I've always had a passion for working with children, and I loved kids. And I just realized you don't go into teaching to go out there and get rich. That was never my motivation. Yet I love traveling. When I graduated high school, I moved to Africa, I traveled around the world, and went to India, and went all these places, and I soon found out that you run out of money and you have to go back to work. And that's how I ended up teaching, and just found myself a little bit frustrated, working to pay the bills, working just to get by, and never really kind of wanting that lifestyle. Seeing people that had taught many years longer than me that frankly were miserable, looked miserable, had lost their passion and their zeal for life. And it's one thing I just remember always being asked growing up as a kid is like, do you ever not smile? And I was just like, what a weird question, like why is it so normal to not be happy, to not feel good, that it's almost abnormal to look to meet people that actually enjoy every single day. And that's why we wanted to talk a little bit about nutrition, is because I truly, truly believe that, the foundation to living a full life, a fulfilled life, it's not about money, it's about feeling good. Because you can have billions of dollars in the bank, but if you're on your deathbed, it means nothing. So, the idea of nutrition is that a lot of us don't grow up with that philosophy. A lot of us grow up learning that, we really deal with our health when we don't have it anymore. Health is kind of like air. It's only important when you have none, right? And we don't really take any consideration towards it because our culture has dictated that. And so one of the things that I've learned about nutrition is so much about a mind state, a thought process. And so what I wanted to just start with is why nutrition in general? What does that mean? Oftentimes we associate nutritional products like this to like medications, taking aspirin, Advil, all the other things. I didn't even know what Sudafed was until, somebody asked me. I was like, what do you take Sudafed for? And they were like, they couldn't believe it. So again, it wasn't a part of my culture. But how do we get to the point where we're really understanding what's the difference between the sickness industry and the wellness industry? Healthcare, as most of us know it today, and all the talk about healthcare and healthcare plans and insurance and all these kinds of things, is really about sickness, right? When do you go to the doctor? When you don't feel good, right? And yet in cultures around the world, that's not the case. Like in China and India and many places around the world, doctors aren't doing their job if you get sick. We're here, it's kind of a routine thing. Oh, you're sick, go to the doctor, When reality is that these products don't heal the body. The body is designed perfect. Our body is such an incredible machine that if you put the right nutrients and minerals and everything in the body is designed to work like a high-performance engine. Okay? The problem is we grow up in a very, very toxic culture. There's a lot of things that you and I don't have control over when it comes to our health. Yes, we can control what we eat, what kinds of foods we eat, when we eat, these kinds of things. But when it comes to really the quality of the food we're eating, maybe 50, 100 years ago we had a little more control because there was such things as family farming, right? But today, farming is an agricultural business. It's a big business at that. And most, I don't know if you know, but like over 80% of the food grown in our country is grown for animal feed. It's not grown for human consumption. So we have to just understand that, food as we know it, one of the major reasons that nutrition is so important is because of the poor food quality that we have today, things that we don't even have control over. And some people say, well, if you eat organic, then you're okay. Well, you know, what is organic? Even there's kind of like shady laws when it comes to that, because there's a lot of big money, you know, attached to the organic industry. And we just have to kind of see the bigger picture of things and say, wow, there's a lot of things stacked against us that actually keeps us sick. Because I also realize there's a lot of money in being sick. Okay? There's a lot of money in the drugs that we are prescribed once we get sick. And I also realize there's a lot more money to be made to regulate disease over a lifetime than it is to show somebody how to be well. Now, I don't want you to think I'm here to talk about a conspiracy. It's not about that. It's just understanding business for what it is. If you go into business, the board of directors' goal of any business is to what? Turn a profit, right? So it's as simple as that. It's understanding that profits are oftentimes higher on the agenda than the actual people we serve. And how do we know that? Even in education, as a school teacher, one of the reasons I lost my passion for it was because the kids were no longer the issue. What was the issue is how much money did each school get per pupil. You understand? It's always about the bottom dollar. And we have to start seeing healthcare in that kind of perspective. So understanding the food quality. Our food just isn't the same as what it was for even our grandparents or our great-grandparents. So, you know that saying, the apple a day keeps the doctor away? They say for that saying to be true today, you would need 22 apples a day. Now, how many like struggle like with an apple a week? You know, it's like, ooh, we are not getting nutrition from apples. Now, why? Because understand that over the last 50, 100 years in this country, you know, because farming has become a business, like my great uncle, like my great grandparents came from Sweden and they farmed in Minnesota. They used to like grow soybeans in the soil one year, and then the next year they would grow something else. It's called rotation of crops. I hope some of you have heard of this concept. Because one crop takes stuff out of the soil and the other crop would put those things back into the soil, and farmers did that on purpose so that the soil stayed minerally rich and of nutrients. Today it's not the case. I mean, every year you see corn, soybeans, soybeans. And so the minerals of the soil, I mean, people just plain know our soils are minerally deficient. There's no nutrients in our soil anymore. So how do the foods get the minerals and the vitamins if the soil no longer has it? They don't. I mean, a good example is, you know, we go to the grocery store, and even though our foods look very pretty, I mean, I don't see the nice, beautiful, shiny red apple, bright colored things, but you bite into it, it has like no flavor, no juice. One of my worst tasting vegetables today, in my opinion, is tomatoes. You grow your own tomato, and you know what a tomato tastes like, but tomatoes today are like spongy nothingness, you know? And so how come? Because again, there's no vitamins and minerals in the soil. So one of the biggest reasons why we need nutritional supplements is because our foods just don't have the nutrients they used to. You know, they say when you're eating spinach, the vitamins and minerals we used to get from spinach, we would need like, you know, 11 pounds of spinach to get the same amount of nutrients you used to get in 1 pound of spinach just 5 years ago. Okay? So in perspective, you know, a lot of us are eating right, as they call it. In my community, we grew our own food, we you know, cooked our own food, we didn't eat meat, we were just really conscious of those kinds of things. Yet people in my community still got cancer, still got Parkinson's, still had arthritis, still had health concerns. Why?